It's your favorite YouTube dealer. I appreciate you guys for stopping in. We got some new time MacDonald and Adam Calhoun. This one is called Race War. I assume we're going to have some conversation to be had around this one, but that's what I'm excited for. That's what I like diving into these songs for, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff to talk about. They have not missed with a single one that they have dropped yet together, so shout out to them for that. Let's dive in. Let's see what they was cooking with.
It's okay to be racist, as long as you hating on the Caucasians, teaching white kids that their shade's the same as school shooters and rapists. Maybe I'm tripping because the white children have been getting taught that they got white privilege by the white guys in the high heels who identify as the white women. I'm not proud to be white, but I'm fine with it because I'm not.
Yo, okay. As always, this man dives in immediately, and I ain't heard a lie yet. It's okay to be racist as long as you're hating on the Caucasians. That's really how it feels right now, which is absolutely crazy to me. It's wild to me. Like, there's some of these TikToks that we've reacted to on my Tribe Reacts channel, which I need to get back to doing content over there, but we've reacted to videos of women on TikTok, black women, or, you know, I'm sure there's some guys involved too, but it tends to be the black women, and they're like, I don't like any white people. And they just start going in and like the white woman is the devil and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And then some people will justify it. Some of them even being white. And I'm like, yo, how is this reality right now? If this was in reverse and it was a white person saying, yo, the black people are the devil, it would go viral. It'd be crazy. It'd be one of the wildest things that anybody can ever say. And they would get canceled and all this other stuff. But now it's like, well, they deserve to get it back. Like, I don't understand that mentality of like, well, they've been in power enough. They like, all this stuff is just so weird to me. And it's like, we just want this pendulum to keep swinging. Like, we want to hate on this race, then hate on that race, then hate on this race. And that's not getting us anywhere. I could go in on this topic for like 30 minutes. So I'm not going to get too crazy about it, but that is the realest shit ever. And it's wild because it's also coming from white people. And he's not wrong when he says it's the white men being white women. You see a lot of videos like that as well, where they're like, yo, as white people, we need to take accountability for this. And, you know, and it just like, it's just weird. It's just weird. There's a lot of just, at the end of the day, I feel like there's just a lot of weird people in the world. It's definitely not the majority of people, but it seems that way because you see it on social media and it goes viral. It gets a lot of clicks. And so you start thinking that there's just all these people that actually feel that way. And I feel like that's not the case when you actually go out into the real world and interact with actual people who aren't just sitting on their phone, TikToking and shit like that. It doesn't seem to actually be that way, but it appears that way because of what you see on social media. There's a lot of stuff and misconceptions based on shit like that. Like when you see something trending on Twitter and you don't realize that Twitter is like less than 8% of the world, right? So even if something was trending on Twitter and half of the people on there were agreeing with it and you're like, oh my God, the world is fucked. In all reality, it's not. It's a small percentage of people that are actually backing that. It just seems that way because that's the social media that you're on and you're like, wow, look at all these people agreeing. Like, this is crazy. And it is crazy, but I don't know that it's as crazy as it actually seems. Again, when you go out in the actual real world and you interact with actual people, it's just this weird online phenomenon where we're like making it okay to hate on white people. We're making it okay to like, just there's a lot of things that we're, as I said, I could go in for like 30 minutes. I ain't gonna say too much. We got a song to listen to, but I feel like you guys know where I'm coming from.
It's okay to be racist, as long as you hating on the Caucasians, teaching white kids that their shade's the same as school shooters and rapists. Maybe I'm tripping because the white children have been getting taught that they got white privilege by the white guys in the high heels who identify as the white women. I'm not proud to be white, but I'm fine with it because I'm not allowed to have pride in it, because the colonizers and the white bigots made white history my business. I ain't never gonna give a damn if you like me. I ain't gon' trip when they stereotype me. I'm a white boy and a white boy like me knows that all lives matter. Bite me. When I was younger, they taught me to never see color, to treat every man as if he was my brother. But now that we're grown up, we hate one another for all of the ways that we struggle and suffer. They coming for blood and we running for cover. The government wants us divided and dumber, addicted and drunk in the gutter, so we never wake up and never recover.
Okay, that was dope. Let's just talk technically about that. That was dope. I'm not like this big fast rap fan all the time, but I like when people rap fast and there's content in it. And he said a lot. He said a lot in that. And like he said, he's like, you know, like I'm white, but and I'm okay with it, or I forget what he said, but I'm not proud of it because you're not allowed to have pride anymore because the people in the past turned it in. Like, it's interesting. It is really interesting when you think about it. Like, if someone were to just be like, yo, I'm proud to be white, and it had no meaning behind it, no negative connotations, nothing like that, people would look at you crazy. Like, but you can be proud to be black. You could be like, right? It's a very interesting concept. But at the end of the day, like, it's like we're creating the division amongst people. If you put a bunch of kids that are different races in a room together before they understand any of this stuff, they're just gonna get along. If they don't like each other, it's not gonna have anything to do with their color, their race. Like none of that is gonna have anything to do with it. It might just be like, well, this kid's playing with the toys, I want to play with them, right? Like it'd be dumb shit like that. But there's not ever going to be this, well, I don't like him because of this skin color until that is kind of taught to them, or it's not even so much that it's taught to them, but they perceive everything that's happening in life. And so slowly but surely they pick up on these things and it becomes ingrained in them and part of their personality and who they become. So if we just weren't doing all this dumb shit and saying all, you know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't happen in that way. This is 100% something that we're creating. And again, it's the pendulum thing where it's like, you know, oh, well, white people have had privilege for so long. So now there's certain people that feel like you can give shit to white people and it's okay to be racist towards white people, but they'll say that it's not racism. Like I've had people that I've even known in my life that I think I'm no offense, but a little crazy they are because they've actually had the mentality, and I don't know if they still do, that you can't be racist if you're black. And I'm like, that makes no sense whatsoever. Like it's just such a weird concept. And I feel like that's the feeling that people have. So they're like, well, when I feel this way about white people, it's not racism. It's just, then they give you some bullshit excuse, and it's absolutely stupid. And at the end of the day, it's like it shouldn't happen in any direction. And that's the problem, is we're just causing more issues. And I refer to it as a pendulum because it's like, at one point, yes, there was a lot more people that were hating at different. Now it seems like the white people are getting the majority of the hate, and some people would argue that that's not the case. But eventually, it's gonna, right? Like we don't want it to keep swinging, but we don't want this nonstop battle to be happening, right? So there's other ways of going about it than just constantly putting hate on people. Especially like he said, my ancestors or people in the past. Like nowadays, we're different people, right? Like the guy I walked down the street and passed who's white is not anybody that had anything to do with slavery. He didn't have anything to do with any, you know what I'm saying? Like he could be a perfectly good individual. And that's why you can't just be like, oh, this color, this thought process. Like it's stupid. And it just sets you back, and it sets communities back. It sets everything back. This is going to be a long video. This shit gets me. I can't help but say certain things when it comes to videos like this because it upsets me.
And the high heels who identify as the white women. I'm not proud to be white, but I'm fine with it, because I'm not allowed to have pride in it, because the colonizers and the white bigots made white history my business.
That's what he said. Not ancestors, but the colonizers and the white bigots made white history, or something like my business, right? Like that's what he's trying to say is like he has nothing to do with that. Just because some people a long time ago did certain shit doesn't mean that you look at him and his white skin and say, oh, well, this must be how he feels, or this must be, right? Like, are there fucked up people out there? Yes, of every race though. It's not just of one race. And, you know, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Like, I not to even get into it, but was it like there was a YouTuber that called Stevie Knight, I don't even know if I want to say the word, but he labeled him a certain way because of the fact that he does reactions to certain videos similar to what I've done on my Tribe Reacts channel, where we discuss things where if we just call out bullshit, and sometimes that bullshit comes from our community, and we feel like it's better that we speak on it because it'll resonate more than if somebody from another race speaks on it. So we come out and we say the things that we feel and we think, and we talk about how some of these things are only setting us back, and you know what I'm saying? And then certain people within our community will then look at us and be like, oh, well, you're parading for the white man. And it's like, no, like we just don't want this bullshit to continue anymore. So we're going to speak on it because it feels like, it resonates more when it comes from people who are in the same community, because we can actually point things out without people looking at us and be like, oh, well, you're racist against black people. So no, we're not, because we are black, right? So we have an ability to talk about it without it turning into this other conversation, if that makes sense.
I ain't never gonna give a damn if you like me. I ain't gon' trip when they stereotype me. I'm a white boy, and a white boy like me knows that all lives matter. Bite me. When I was younger, they taught me to never see color, to treat every man as if he was my brother. But now that we're grown up, we hate one another for all of the ways that we struggle and suffer. They coming for better, we running for cover. The government wants us divided and dumber, addicted and drunk in the gutter, so we never wake up and never recover. Call me culture vulture cause I rap good. I don't pop Zans or smoke backwoods, but they call me a wigger and label me Hitler and hate like I'm wearing a Klan hood. It ain't left or right or black or white, it's good and evil. Elite folks ain't normal people. United we stand and divided we fall. America, we gotta get real. You were segregated.
I like that. It's not black, white, or all these. It's good or it's evil. And there is evil amongst every community, amongst every race. There's just bad people. That is a fact of life. If anything, we should be more concerned with the separation between rich and poor. because there's poor people of every race, there's rich people of every right, but like that, if anything, that's more of something that's worth discussing and talking about and trying to overcome than keep bringing everything to race.
To smoke backwoods, but they call me a wigger and label me Hitler and hate like I'm wearing a Klan hood. It ain't left or right or black or white, it's good and evil. Elite folks ain't normal people. United we stand and divided we fall. America, we gotta get real. You were segregated, that was not fair. You were enslaved, they did not care. But you were never on a plantation, and my generation was not there. That's trauma in your DNA, causing what we see today. I pray to God you staying strong. Don't want to see no man in pain. You white folks, I'm embarrassed. Some of y'all are such Karens. That prejudice you inherited was racism from your parents.
See, and this, I like this because a lot of people give Tom shit, but he's speaking on both sides of it. He said, listen, you weren't on the plantation. Like us nowadays, we weren't there on the other side of that either, right? So that's why let's leave that shit in the past. It sucks that it happened. It's a horrible thing, but it's in the past. So let's leave it there and let's start to discuss what's going on now, right? And then he's talking about the fact that, you know, just like that trauma was inherited, some of the prejudices that people have are inherited. So he's speaking on both sides for both, you know what I'm saying? Instead of people just being like, oh, he's always, again, parading for the white man. He's always bigging up it and talking, but like he's speaking on both sides of it. And that's exactly what needs to be done. And again, it's good for him to speak on that, no different than it's good for people like myself or Stevie Knight or any of us to speak on the side from our community, because it's going to resonate more and nobody can look at it as it being hate, because we're the ones talking about it. Similar to if he talks about the prejudice that he feels some white people have inherited and have brought through, you know, because like I said, again, inevitably there are bad people out there. It's just the way it is. But him speaking on it is going to resonate more. I hope I'm making sense with what I'm saying.
I'm embarrassed. Some of y'all are such Karens. That prejudice you inherited was racism from your parents. Get that poison out your veins. Whites and blacks are all the same. They want us in our graves. Just let me try to explain. I swear they want us in a race war, dying every day for whose lives matter more. I won't be dying in the race war. Our government is paid for, 'cause our lives matter more. If you born black, you lose. Might as well go get that. Gon' die before you 25, get shot over your shoes. You gon' get killed by police even when you follow the rules. If you listen to the news, you gon' believe all this is true. I ain't feel no white guilt, they don't ride for me when I'm killed. I guess white life don't matter, it's sad, but that's the way that I feel. I feel like they feel like I don't know what they all call me. Cis white male, bigot, racist, he's a Nazi. That's not me. I'm not one of these white liberal commies who think black America needs allies in they army. Your neighborhood's all gay, then claim you pro-black, but you faking. Guys are dying on the pavement. All your hashtags won't save them. That ain't gangster.
All your hashtags won't save. That is a fact. That is a fact. It is crazy though. People call this man, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to think, like, for you to have gotten involved in rap, it obviously came from black culture. So it's not like he's going to get into rap being like, oh, I fucking hate black people and everything that they're about and everything like that. Then he wouldn't rap, right? Like, I mean, at the base level, at the very least, you've got to look at it that way a little bit, right? And I do like how he started it off where he said, like, if you only watch the news, you're going to think that this is the only thing that happens. All the cops are out to shoot all the black people. All the, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not the truth. It's really not the truth. Have I ran across some bad cops? Maybe a couple, but I'll be honest with you, I've ran across more good cops. I've had cops that treated me better than my white friend who was in the same situation as me. I had a cop one time where my friend mouthed off a little bit and he got handcuffed and they had his arms behind his back and like ripping it. Like, yo, they pretty much lifted him and slammed him on the cop car. Didn't handcuff me at all. Told me, hey, we're sorry that your friend's acting this way. Blah, blah, blah. You know, we weren't even going to bring you guys in, but, and they let me walk to the car. No cuffs, no anything. Were completely nice to me, like extremely nice to me without a single problem. Whereas he got a whole bunch of shit because it was more so the way that he acted than just, oh, well, he's white, so he's going to get the privilege. I'm black, so they're going to treat me poorly. It wasn't that way. So every cop isn't out there to get everybody. Are there bad cops? Unfortunately, yeah. And a lot of times it's not even necessarily a race thing, in my opinion. It's a power trip thing. It's just like some weirdo who probably got picked on in school or didn't have the control that he wanted, and he went and became a cop, and now he has it, and he's going to treat people poorly. Now, are there some that are going to look at things in a race perspective? Unfortunately, yes. But that, again, that happens on all sides of the spectrum. happens on all sides of the spectrum. No different than I just pointed out that there's some women on TikTok and again, I only say women because I've only seen it from the women. I'm sure there's black guys that do the same thing, but they're literally like, white women are the devil, white this, white that, right? Like, does that mean all people on TikTok are saying that, or all black women are saying that, or all? No, it doesn't, but there is a select few. So there's always going to be that select few, but you can't label everybody based on that select few. Does it mean that things need to change? Of course, because you don't want people to be cops that are going to feel a certain type of way about a race, a certain type of way about people who are maybe poor and don't have as much privilege just in general in life, which could be any race. You don't want cops who are in there that just want to have control and feel like you either bow down to them regardless of who you are, or they're going to exert their power on you. Like, there's a lot of things like that that do need to be figured out 100%. But to think that it's all just in one direction and this is the only reason, like, there's so many videos I've checked out on Tribe Reacts where the cops were super nice. Like, there's been a lot of situations I've watched where the cops walk up extremely respectful, extremely nice, just trying to figure something out, and then all of a sudden the person turns into, well, you're doing this because I'm black, blah, 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 and it just starts going off on this cop who is being nothing but nice. And funny thing is, a lot of the videos, the cops continue to be nice and just get berated and talked down to and shit like that when they're literally just doing their job because you broke the law. So, you know, again, are there situations? Of course there are. But when you watch the media, which is only portraying the worst of the worst, it makes it seem like that's everything. And it's just not the truth.
You gon' get killed by police even when you follow the rules. If you listen to the news, you gon' believe all this is true. I ain't feel no white guilt. They don't ride for me when I'm killed. I guess white lies don't matter, it's sad, but that's the way that I feel. I feel like they feel like I don't know what they all call me. Cis, white, male, bigot, racist, he's a Nazi. That's not me. I'm not one of these white liberal commies who think black America needs allies in they army. Your neighborhood's all gay, then claim you pro-black, but you faking. Guys are dying on the pavement. All your hashtags won't save them. That ain't gangster. People begging for their life still. I know white people who can't afford to pay their light bill, who might feel like they the ones who losing their life, when the worst thing you could be is not ashamed to be white. White privilege is a system they position for division. If you black, you go to prison. If you white, your life is different. Take some money, race, religion, sprinkle in some ammunition, and make everyone believe that the other team is the villain. I ain't pro-black, I ain't pro-white, I'm pro-American. Every color turns of bones one day when you bury them. Woo. Whites and blacks are all the same. They want us in our grave, just let me try to explain.
I swear they want us in a race war, dying every day for whose lives matter more. I won't be dying in the race war. Our government is paid for, 'cause our lives matter more.
They want us in a race war, dying in the streets. Should be us against them, but it's you against me. Ain't nobody gonna win.
I like that. It should be us against them, but it's you against me. I like that. Facts.
They want us in a race war, dying in the streets. Should be us against them, but it's you against me. Ain't nobody gonna win. Everybody gon' see that the color of your skin don't change the color that you bleed.
I swear they want us in a race war, dying every day for whose lives matter more. I won't be dying in the race war. Our government is paid for, 'cause our lives matter more.
I feel like this was really, really dope. I enjoyed this. I assume they're gonna catch some shit because of the fact that they're two white males who are rapping this song, 100%. But it is true. It's very true, and they played both sides of it, explained both sides of it. I think that is dope. I'm sure there's gonna be people that even look at me like, oh, Duanes, you're parade, and it's like, no, like I it's just crazy to think that I could get some shit or people could get some shit because of the fact that I legitimately just want things to be okay. I just want people to get along. I just want equality. And again, you're like, oh, well, then the system shouldn't. Well, I don't think that the system is necessarily geared towards anybody, because there's no rules that say like, okay, well, in this law, if you're white, this happens. If you're black, that happens. Again, what it comes down to is certain people in place within the system. Like, you might go in front of a judge and maybe that judge is racist, and maybe he is going to give you a worse time than he would a white person. But that's that specific judge. You go in front of another judge and he's going to be completely fair, right? So there are people that have slipped into place in certain parts of society that can make things not so good. It's 100% a fact that there's nothing not true about that, but to paint it as the entirety of the system, it's set up in this way, is just not, it's just not true. I just don't, it's hard for me to believe that that's true. People have tried to say different things to me and try to convince. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And I don't know that I ever will see it. I feel like, again, like he said, it's good and evil. It's not even left and right as far as the politics. It's good and evil. There's good people, there's bad people. And they encompass every single race. Every single race. It's no different than what we had to stay inside. And I don't like to say certain terms because sometimes it flags for, well, are you talking about that illness that was going around, and is there misinformation? So, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It happened about 3 years ago, and there was people, I remember all sorts of stories in New York City of like Asian people being attacked because of, oh, this is your fault. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? This person grew up here and has nothing to do with it. And regardless, even if they did come from over there, why, like, how is it any random person's fault? Like, if this is something that was done in a lab, created or whatever, like, all right, let's just say you found one of the scientists that were working on it. You want to be mad at them? I mean, don't throw acid at them and beat them up and do all these weird, but like, that's a little bit more of an understanding. Like, okay, you have a problem with what this person was doing for their job, but it just be like, oh, well, Asian people are the problem now. Like, I don't know. There's just people in this world that have such a weird mentality, and I'll never really understand it. And I can't help but think that it has to come from low IQ. I'm not to say that there's not people with high IQ that feel a certain type of way about certain things, but a lot of times that might have been something that was branded into them as they grew up, right? Like he said, sometimes it gets passed down from generations. People kind of teach you that stuff, no different than trauma kind of can be passed down on the other side of things. Like it can happen both ways. But I just feel like people that have no reason to feel that way, maybe their parents didn't feel that way, or they grew up, like, it wasn't ingrained in them as a kid, which is a horrible thing. But I just feel like it's got to be a low IQ thing to just suddenly be like, yo, this happened. It's this race. This happened. Oh, it's this race's fault. Like, it's just wild to me. And it's sad where we're at. And I just feel like it's not going to go well. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that we're ever going to have 100% unity and peace and everybody getting along. I don't think that's ever going to happen because humans suck. Let's just be honest. As humans, we suck. We have a lot of faults and a lot of just not so good traits that inevitably are going to be here. But if we can get to a point where the majority of people understand, it's just, I think that it would go a lot better. And you'd think that social media would have made things better in the sense that we have so much more connection among us. We have so much more ability to like integrate and talk with people around the world now. And like, it sounds like such a beautiful thing, right? Like we're all connected in some way. Everybody that decides to go online and stuff like that. Like I could talk with somebody that's somewhere in Europe, like my friend DK is from Europe. He's living in Finland right now. I can talk with him and we can have a conversation. We can communicate. We can play games together. We can do all these things. Otherwise, I would have never known who he was if it wasn't for the internet. And it's beautiful because I can learn some about the stuff that he's going through over there, how life is over there for him. And, and we get to learn about each other. And it seems like such a beautiful thing. But then the flip side of it is the fact that some people can get on there and just spew bullshit and hate. And inevitably, you're going to find other low IQ people around the world that are going to just buy into it the same. They're going to be like, yeah, oh, you know what? They're right. They just made a point right there because they're not intelligent enough to think for themselves and actually go through their own thought process and be like, well, wait, that doesn't make sense. Like, why? Right? Instead, they just buy right into it. And it's the reason why you have a whole lot of crazy shit going on. Like, we can go as far as to talk about the red pill community, right? Like, there are some things that people say like, oh, well, men should focus on this or that, or you know what I'm saying, and like get yourself in this position and build your credit, like, right? There's some good things that have actually come from that community, as much as people don't want to believe it. But then there's some people that come in and they start spewing some bullshit, and there's enough low IQ people or people that just don't have direction in life that are just like, I'm just gonna follow everything this person says. And it's like, that's a problem. I don't know. As humans, we're just really odd, and I think that we've found that we're way more easily manipulated than we probably realized. And the internet and social media and everything has kind of exposed that. At least to me. I feel like the government probably knew we were easily manipulated, which is why, back when it was just the news and just, TV and stuff like that in the newspaper and shit, it was like if they can get a hold of those organizations and kind of put what they want out and put forward, then they know that they can get people on a certain page. Now with the internet and stuff, they've got to find new ways to do it. But then you've got individuals that find a way to manipulate people and get you to go down a certain path and be able to make money off of all the people that will just buy into anything. So it's a tricky the world is a tricky thing. We're in an odd place right now. But anyways, this was a long video. This is 24 minutes long. Listen, sometimes I got some shit to talk about. For anybody that still made it here, you guys are the dopest. Drop a pineapple down in the comment section with your comment. Just let me know that you made it all the way to the end of the video. I'm just curious who did. You don't have to. If you're not going to comment, don't worry about it. But either way, appreciate you guys for stopping in. Take it easy. Stay safe. I'll catch you in the next one, homies.
I don't believe in the future, so I just look to my past life. I take all the lessons I've learned and then I create me a moment you can't write. It's different than dreams, it's different than wishing for shit that you see. It's something you build, you gotta shed tears, and if you gon' live it, accept that you'll bleed. This ain't a drill, that's just a beat. This shit is real, cause that's what you need. This is the pill, that is the seat. Take you a moment before you concede. I got a lot of shit waiting on change, but every day wake up and do it the same. I'm sick of my mind, it's out of control. I thought it was fine, but that was a phase. I mean, it's like, I got a chance, why would I blow it? It's all that I have.